Hey, what's up, DS3 TV? I can see you haven't subscribed to the channel. It's kind of weird. You should subscribe. I mean, we got some good content here. And also, go to the Twitch that's in the link down in the description. Link is probably right here under me. And yeah, should do all of that. And yeah, please subscribe. Get to see me have hot sauce that I don't really want to have when we get to 10,000. So subscribe. What is up, DS3 TV? And I am actually, I just forgot to do something, so wait a second. Okay. Wait a second. Alright, and now we're watching Obviously got some production. History Summarized, Iceland's, I cannot say that. I have no idea how to say it. Hallgrimskirkja? Hallgrimskirkja? I don't know if I said that right. Hopefully I got close. Because I don't know. I literally have never been to Iceland, have never been to Iceland, so I don't know. I would want to go one day, and honestly, Iceland does seem like a really cool place to live. That's kind of why I wanted to watch this. Because I always am interested and fascinated by Iceland's history whenever I get the chance to see it. So I decided to share that nice little amazement with you. And also, you can recommend me videos in the comment section down below anytime, as long as they're not known for copyright striking or stuff like that. Yeah, it'd be pretty good. Also, as always, the captions are going to be on the video, just in case somebody who is deaf wants to watch the video. And yeah, so that is gonna be all good here, and let's get into it and play. Sorry, play.
From the high halls of Asgard, we're happy to bring you two new pins. Thor the Thunderer and the Allfather Odin are available for a limited time at our crowd-made shop, and Thor's lightning glows in the dark. Link below. Scandinavian design is a home decor trend from the 1900s characterized by simplicity.
This chair, actually, if you want to talk about Scandinavian design, this chair is an IKEA chair. It's amazing. The chair literally is so comfortable that I have slept in it multiple times while making videos, and also while editing videos. I have fallen asleep in this chair. Yeah, I think I might have almost fallen asleep in this chair while streaming on YouTube, on Twitch. So, also my streaming, my Twitch channel is Lotus Abbey, and that is in the link. That is actually a link in the description if you want to. Fast way to go to that. And I have a VOD channel. I have a VOD channel now that keeps up with it. And also, I'm gonna start putting clips and stuff, funny moments and stuff, on a different channel. So you guys will see everything from that, which is cool. Just had to say that.
Function, and elegant minimalism. It's the reason everything at IKEA looks like that, and why it's spelled like that. But it is hardly the only design aesthetic native to the far northern edge of Europe. Look through cities like Stockholm or Copenhagen, and you may be struck by the swirly Renaissance whimsy of all the bronze-coated spires and delightfully bubbly rooflines. Yet part of the charm in Scandinavian style is how all these disparate elements are able to fit comfortably next to hypermodern performance venues and abundant green spaces. All that variety becomes a strength and harmonizes together in all these cities. Both times I visited Copenhagen, I found myself surprised at how much I liked the look of something I, on paper, would not have cared for.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to Scandinavian design, just city design, I do love it. like when I see like pictures of it. I've never been to Scandinavia or anything. Um, so yeah, I just would say I love it, to be honest. Like what from what I see.
I mean, barely any marble, only 2 domes, yet still I'm a fan. That's not to say they're all winners, but simply that the Scandinavians are good at this stuff, and I shouldn't be surprised by the times when I'm surprised, you know? Among the Scandinavian countries, this leaves Iceland as the odd one out. It is absolutely renowned for its beauty, but specifically and almost exclusively its natural beauty. Granted, that's for good reason. Volcanoes sprung out from the ground tens of thousands of years ago, yet still to this day are constantly erupting, while glaciers carved out huge masses of lands to leave behind winding riverbeds and dramatic glacial waterfalls, creating an otherworldly landscape of mountains, valleys, water, lava, and oh yeah, sometimes the sky glows. So the
Yeah. Also, another thing I like about like Iceland too, that I remember like I seen like on a video, was that you can drink the water like you can literally go to a lake, cup your hands, and drink the water from Iceland, and it's like clean. Like you can just do that, and I'm like that's actually kind of crazy that you can just do that. Like when you have a lot of places like here, like the actually one of the places, not one of the places, the place I live has like lead in the water in the water and stuff.
The practical answer for why Iceland didn't put as many skill points into architecture as the others is that Iceland had always been sparsely populated and only really started urbanizing in the 1800s, which just doesn't leave a lot of time for that kind of stylistic development. But the aesthetically thematic answer is that Iceland didn't need to bother when the sheer spectacle of the land itself puts the rest of the world to shame. So when the OSP crew and friends took a big group vacation up north.
Oh, that's cool. I never seen like we get a face reveal. We get a face reveal now. Oh no. I don't think I've ever seen their face. They might have showed their face like in other pictures. I mean, other videos too. So I don't know. But we get an OSP face reveal.
Earlier this year, we were astounded again and again by the simple fact that Iceland is just gorgeous. And I failed to learn my lesson about being surprised at my own surprise, because while there are only a handful of major architectural landmarks in the city of Reykjavik, this church right here is an all-time classic. To see how, let's do some history. The beginning of settlement in Iceland takes us back all the way to the late 800s AD, when Scandinavian seafarers happened upon this gigantic island in the middle of the Atlantic. Whether they intentionally set out 700 miles northwest of the mainland or just stumbled into it accidentally as they overshot the Faroe Islands is anyone's guess. But others soon joined them, and by 930 they had enough settlers to formalize a commonwealth on the island with the medieval world's first representative assembly, the Althing. Yet they
I know that I remember hearing that like in Iceland it was like basically nobody actually lived there before them, like more than likely, which is like crazy.
Couldn't escape those darn nasty kings back in Scandinavia for long, as Norway's king sent Christian missionaries to Iceland at the end of the century, and then after 2 entire centuries of meddling, it got glomped into the Kingdom of Norway in the 1260s. In the 1300s, it variously united under Sweden and then under Denmark, and then finally they achieved peak Scandinavia by snowballing together into the Kalmar Union. This lasted up to 1523 when Sweden left, but the politics of mainland Europe had limited impact out in Iceland. What did make a splash was the Protestant Reformation, when newly Lutheran Danes forcibly converted Iceland out of Catholicism and closed all the monasteries. And this was not the only thing Denmark forcibly did, as they later imposed a strict trading monopoly on Iceland with the specific purpose of siphoning out all of Iceland's wealth and then hideously upcharging them for basic goods in return. Denmark got Iceland's best on the cheap, which they could then turn around and sell for.
Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the subtitles just for this part. Denmark's policy aimed to counter the Hanseatic League's trade power. This is the economic strategy called mercantilism. Yeah, mercantilism, which maximizes a country's resources and seeks big exports to make money. Which is that literally. And from 1620, Icelandic wealth flowed into Copenhagen for minimal cost, and was then exported out at a markup. Exported out at a markup. I don't know why I can't talk. Mercantilism working as intended, which is true, and then mercantilism is like an early form of capitalism, basically, for the most part.
huge profits, while Iceland had to pay name brand prices for Denmark's bottom shelf products. Not exactly fair, but that's empires for you. The joy of being a distant corner of someone else's kingdom continued through 1786 when the monopoly was partially abolished, so all Danes but
It's part of the reason why I'm anti-imperialist, by the way.
still only Danes could trade with Iceland. This coincided with the founding of a port city at Reykjavik at the supposed site of Iceland's first settlement by the Vikings. Iceland's ancient assembly, the Althing, was briefly suspended but restored in 1844, now in Reykjavik, which granted it a status as the economic and political capital. Iceland got its own flag in 1915, with its colors representing the mountains, glaciers, and volcanoes that characterize the land. In 1918, they were granted sovereignty but remained part of the Danish crown.
That's such a cool way to get your flag, to be honest, though. I never knew how Iceland got their flag. That's such a cool way.
Because monarchy is weird like that. In the Second World War, Denmark was occupied by the Nazis, so Iceland figured now was as good a time as ever to bail and declared independence as a republic in 1944, one millennium and change after the original founding of the Althing. So despite the abundantly long history of Iceland overall, its modern shape is remarkably new, and that of course includes the architecture. The typical Lutheran churches were plain, made of wood, usually with one allotted accent color, all in keeping with the Protestant taste for simple and unfussy churches. But with Iceland's new sovereignty in the 1900s, there was an appetite for a showcase of distinctly Icelandic architecture, and state architect Guðjón Samuelsson was more than up to the task. He worked on Reykjavik's urban planning and designed buildings around Iceland, including the Heraðsskólinn schoolhouse in the style of traditional turf houses, and the inventively Art Deco-ish Hallgrimskirkja, as well as the main University of Iceland.
Is it just me, or do I kind of like the turf houses, like the grass house kind of houses? I like those. Those give it really a lot of charm, and I kind of wouldn't mind living in that, to be honest.
Iceland building and the National Theatre, which both reflect the starkness of Iceland's natural landscape while incorporating various modernist elements. It's nothing too out there, but it all helped to develop a style of Iceland for Iceland. Then, in 1937, the state commissioned what would become his centerpiece project for Reykjavik, a Lutheran church in honor of the Icelandic clergyman and poet Hallgrímur Pétursson. His Passjusálmar, or Passion hymns, had been a central fixture in Icelandic faith and literature since their composition in the 1600s, making him arguably the most prominent Icelandic poet this side of the Eddas, and in his honor, Hallgrímskirkja would become the grandest church in all of Iceland. So how did the talented Mr. Samuelsson pull it off? Essentially, he looked to Iceland itself for inspiration, much as he had done in his previous work, and here that meant designing the church to echo the volcanic basalt columns that appear across the country because of Iceland's bonkers geothermal properties. The basalt is almost perfectly hexagonal despite occurring naturally, and it makes for a fantastic design motif on the church. The entire exterior here is made of a very rough white concrete to mimic the ruggedness of uncut stone, and the wings and tower are shaped to look just like the basalt columns. The effect is striking, and Hallgrímskirkja seems like a mountain standing right in the center of the city. The back of the church follows a more traditional basilica structure with some Gothic detailing in the windows, but it continues that geometric texture and crisp aesthetic which make it so distinct. And, as is right and just, there is a dome, yet even Hallgrímskirkja does not exist apart from nature, and the ever-temperamental Icelandic weather makes the surface of the church...
I think I might be definitely alone on this, but I don't really care for the domes a lot. It's just not to me, it's not it's not as aesthetically pleasing as the pointed castle. Look, kind of actually like this. I actually do like this type of structure. Right? I don't. That's just that's just a me personally thing. I don't think that's a bad architecture choice or whatever. I just prefer it. I'm just gonna be honest. I just prefer it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I live in Chicago, so I kind of don't really care for the dome structure. Maybe that could be a thing, that I lived in a city that didn't have a lot of domes. Maybe. I don't know.
Church into a canvas for light. It's imposing in the fog and snow, shines bright white on a clear day, and takes on a golden glow in the sunset. And it might be in this particular lighting that you realize where Marvel's Asgard got its inspiration. It's extra charming if you look at the church from Reykjavik's Rainbow Road, which was added as a lovely display of LGBT pride, but also doubles as a...
Love that, I definitely love that. You see the beautiful flag I have here. So, love that.
Cute reference to Bifrost, the rainbow bridge that leads to Asgard. Now stepping through the big bronze doors and into the church itself, it is a thoroughly Lutheran space, lacking in frills and described by my esteemed colleague Red as not finished rendering yet. And while that acerbic assessment may be accurate, the space is no less impressive.
That is true. It does look like it just hasn't finished rendering at all. Like, it's just like, it's like 70, it's like 60% there.
For it. If anything, the pure simplicity lets the interior become as a dedicated spectacle of light. Much like the outside, the space is stark, but that minimalism connects you to that pure sense of Iceland. To me, it felt like stepping into a mountain or a glacier, the main difference being that most mountains don't have a 25-ton, 5,000-pipe organ in the back. It's incredible for concerts and also lets the church serve as a place of community as well as worship. Down at human level, there's also plenty to appreciate, from the quintessentially Scandinavian seating, which impressively incorporates the basalt motif, to the small selection of religious artwork around the church, to the crystal baptismal font that refracts rainbows when it catches the light. Many churches manage to feel like empty rooms, but Hallgrimskirkja, which objectively has a lot less stuff in it, feels complete and rich because the light perfectly fills what the church leaves open. It's in constant interaction with the natural landscape, echoing what it can while acting as a mirror for the rest. Having been commissioned 7 years after the millennial anniversary of the Althing and finished on Reykjavik's bicentennial, Hallgrimskirkja is true to Samuelson's intent. Every inch of the place celebrates what makes Iceland Iceland. And
Hallgrimskirkja. Okay. So I don't think I said it right at all the first time.
Damn, it is pretty.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching. Myself, Red, Cyan, Indigo,
That was a really good video. I like that. Yeah, so as always, the original video will be down in the description if you want to watch it on OSP's channel. And that was a really good video. History summarized Iceland's wait, I'm gonna mess it up, so I'm not gonna say it. Wait, Hallgrimskirkja. I feel like I messed it up, but yeah, very, very, very good, very beautiful building, and talk to you guys in the next video, and peace.